Hello, bonjour, konnichiwa, marhaba, yakwe, and hola. Welcome to our virtual city life recap, where you're going to have the opportunity to learn from 19 different city departments on how they work and operate. You're going to have the opportunity to also see how you can get connected and make a difference within our community. So, if you're interested in also participating in an in-person event, we offer them in fall and also in the spring. You can find us at www.cityofdubuque.org/citylife. So without further ado, let's begin. All right, it's all you.
And we're ready to go, huh?
Yes, we are.
All right. It's just not as much fun. I mean, we could have been running around the library and
Right.
a talking head.
I could have paid my library fine. I'm just kidding.
But you can, just interrupt when you have any questions, and we'll just make do, right? I am Susan Hendricks. I've been at the library now for, by the time I leave, it's going to be about 19 and a half years. I am retiring. So this is my last city life presentation. So it is disappointing that we can't tour the library. It's one of my favorite things to do. I have short tours and long tours. I could keep you walking around this library for an hour because everything has a story to it. So, but stop in and ask me if you are around. I'll give you a tour. What you're looking at here is a painted rock, and this rock represents my choice to make public librarianship a career. My first career was actually in business, and I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I made lots of money, and then we moved to rural Iowa, and we had 2 babies, and working part-time seemed like the best option. However, part-time work in my area of expertise just was not available. So I ended up working in a small library, and by small, I mean the town's population was 672 people. And this was in the early 90s, before many people even knew about the internet. It definitely hadn't reached critical mass. They didn't have cell phones. And so a small town, the benefit was you got to know everybody in this small town. And I could make personal recommendations about what they might want to read. And there was a fellow named Robert that would come into the library like 3-4 times a week and check out books. And I knew he painted, and he painted this rock. I've got more of them at home. You can use them as a paperweight or whatever. So I've got a few of his rocks, and I knew of his interest in painting. So I purchased a book on art and technique that I thought was perfect for him. And yet, despite my invitations, he just wouldn't check this book out. And the last time I pestered him, he just simply responded, "I'm not going to check the book out because it doesn't have many pictures. I use pictures in books as ideas I cannot read." And I was just stunned. And then Robert asked me if I could teach him how to read. And I thought, well, I'm not a teacher. I mean, at the time, I lacked any diploma except a high school diploma. And then I realized, you know what? I'm it. I was it. The closest resources were located in Cedar Rapids, and that was about a 35-mile drive from this small town. And he didn't have a car. There was no internet. There was no county services. So I thought, what am I going to do? So I said yes. And we began learning how to read on Wednesday nights. And anyway, Robert ended up moving to a neighboring community, and then I left and went back to school. I can't tell you if he was able to continue his reading lessons, but the impact that this experience had on me was powerful. And I realized that the bottom line in libraries wasn't about making money like it was in business. Indeed, my income dropped 95% when I started working at the library. But the bottom line is the power of reading and how libraries can change lives. I mean, it was real. I was hooked. I went back to college, and I never looked back. As with all of our city departments, and I'm thinking that maybe you other department has touched on the topic of equity. The library embraces equity, diversity, and inclusivity. In fact, that's what public libraries are founded on. They existed when our country was first formed. The libraries, the first one was Harvard University. And they had a library just for the elite and the educated. And as Americans became more literate, they founded these subscription libraries, and there was one in Dubuque. And if you could afford the yearly subscription, which most people could not, of course, then you could check out books from these libraries, and then they use that money to build their collections. But most people couldn't afford it. It was a luxury. And then Andrew Carnegie entered the picture, and he was a very wealthy industrialist, the late 19th, very early 20th century. He was a Scottish immigrant, and he was self-educated through using a public library. So Carnegie ended up being the richest man in the world, and he made a commitment to share his wealth, and he wanted to share his wealth, all of it, before he died. So one of his investments was the public library, and he founded over 2,500 public libraries. Carnegie Stout is just one of them. And he called libraries the people's university. So the libraries always strive to be accessible to all and represent all sides of an issue or topic. But, you know, the libraries still have a ways to go. Work remains to be more equitable and more inclusive. So for instance, the doors to the library opened up almost 120 years ago, and fines were charged for overdue materials for the next 119 years. And when you think about it, that's a barrier to access, right? I mean, a lot of people, like for me, I have a fine, you grumble, you complain, and it's a slap on the wrist, you pay it. But for others, you know, 10 bucks, you rack up a $10 fine, you can't use the library if you have over $10 in fines. This is a big deal. And they have to make decisions about what they're going to use that $10 for if that's all they have, and they're not going to be running down to the library to pay a fine. So it results in no service. We eliminated fines in 2019. We no longer charge fines for overdue books. And here's the irony is that we get more books back, more materials, DVDs, any material back than we ever have had in history. So it's very effective. It gets more items back. People are just more comfortable coming to the library and using it. So along these lines, we're working with the Dubuque Community School District, and we're going to introduce the students so they can use their student ID at the library at Carnegie Stout or the county library system. So we keep working to increase access. The library is governed by a seven-member library board of trustees, and they're appointed by the mayor with the concurrence of city council. This is a little bit different than other boards and commissions where the city council members all vote on appointments. The library board of trustees also differs from other boards and commissions, except the airport, I'll point out, because it's a policy-making board. And the board of trustees is accountable to the mayor and the city council. So any city resident 18 years or older is eligible to serve on the library board of trustees. And an application is the same for any other board or commission, and it's available online through the city's website. You know, there's a lot of ways that you can become involved in the library. Of course, you could work at the library. This is just the best place to work. Can you imagine working in this building with the history? It's just, I've never gotten tired of it. There's a link from on the library's main webpage. It's called Job Opportunities. And by clicking on that, you'll see what the jobs that the library has open. And of course, there's other ways you can become involved in the library. You can volunteer as well. Like you can, if you want to learn about more specific opportunities, look at the library's website, and you can see position descriptions. And then when you click on one of those, you'll see you'll get a full position description and an online application on the same page. But you know, the greatest involvement in the library is just being a user of the library. And so what comes to mind when you think about the library? Well, books, right? Maybe reading, study, kids programs. That usually is what comes to mind when we're thinking about the library. And books still comprise the largest part of our business. I mean, it's like 63% of all our checkouts is books. 48% print, 15% digital. So 63% is books, but they're not. But 15% of that is digital. 32% DVDs. So those are pretty popular. And you're familiar with this service offered by the library. So really what I want to concentrate on now is the things that the resources, the things that are available to you with your library card that you might not know about. Mostly virtual resources that you can have anywhere there is internet access. So I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of our virtual resources available from the library. Remember, okay, all you need is a library card, and that is free. So you're probably all familiar with Consumer Reports. And this is much better than anything you're going to find on Google, because real information, quality filtered information, you got to pay for it. And we pay for this. So we have access to Consumer Reports, and you have access to Consumer Reports just with your library card. And it's very robust. We still have the print copies. We don't want to discourage you from coming in and checking out Consumer Reports, but a lot of times if you're maybe at night or weekend, something comes up, something breaks, you want a quick review, you could even bring this up on your phone and find out what the recommendations are. And then if you work on your genealogy, many of us are familiar with ancestry.com, and we have that at the library. We're not allowed to offer that remotely, but you can use it in the library. So we offer Heritage Quest Online, which is a nice complement to ancestry.com. Very similar information. LawCheck is a great resource for forms. As you can see here, it covers a wide range of information, and it covers things from the state, the federal level. It has, of course, it has directories, but what we tend to use it a lot for in the library is that it has a lot of the forms that you would need, and they're unique to Iowa. So you can drill it down pretty carefully, and it's free. Here you can find information on automobiles, and you're going to foreign and domestic, 1940 to 2021 through Chilton's. And you can, it's got repair guides, it has recalls, electrical diagrams, that kind of stuff. That seems very similar to what you would find if you were checking out the Chilton's manual. How about a trip to Italy? Doesn't that sound good? It comes to mind, I was listening to an audiobook on my way back here to the library, and it was taking place in Italy. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be great to be in Italy? So say you're going to Italy, you might want to learn a little bit more about the language, brush up on your conversational Italian, or learn at your own pace. And what's nice about this resource is that it incorporates listening, reading, speaking, and writing. So it's got you covered, whichever way you want to learn. If you are an investor, if you like to invest, you're probably already familiar with Morningstar. We also have that in the print version at the library. But this is like, on steroids. This is really quite a comprehensive research center. So it's going to make a lot of sense to you if you are an investor. And then we have access to the top. These are the top newspapers in the country. Well, I put the Telegraph Herald in there as my top in Dubuque, but the rest of them are the top newspapers in the country, and many more newspapers. These are not going to be like a PDF e-version, but you're going to be able to get a lot of information and current information, past information. If you're looking for the Telegraph Herald specifically, the collection is now, it's almost 200 years old, and we got 58,000 titles. It is just an amazing resource. We keep working on it, trying to go through the titles and make sure that some titles might be a little blurry. We try to see if we can get a better digital image of it, but for the most part, it's just fantastic. You're going to find what you need, print it out, no charge. If you call Telegraph Herald, they're going to charge you for that reprint. It's easy to search too. When you come in and look at the microfilm, which is fun to see those old ads, but if you don't know exactly what date you're looking for, it's a challenge. So what do you want to read next? Okay, your favorite author only publishes once a year. What are you going to do? Well, you can go to Novelist. And we do this in person. In fact, we have a desk devoted just to this topic. You come in and say, you know, I want a book just like John Grisham, but he only writes one a year. Who writes like him? Who has stories like him, etc. Or you might be in the middle of a series and you don't know what's next. And we do that in person, but this is also a resource that you can use on your own, and you never have to wonder about what to read next when you get hooked up with Novelist. RefUSA, it can be quite valuable for business. I mean, this, you could really scale down and get some very detailed information. I like to tell the story of the time when I used it. My daughter is an esthetician, and that she does skincare and facials, that sort of thing. But she was working in a shop, and it wasn't in an area of town where there was a lot of disposable income. And she was having a hard time getting people to upgrade and go in for these services. And I told her, I said, you know, you just have to do some target marketing. Well, there's a lot of people around the neighborhood. I can't afford that. So we got into RefUSA, and I said, what you need people within the radius of where your shop is, right? And then you want women of a certain age because they've got the disposable income. Also women that, you know, look at themselves and say, oh, I hope it's not too late. And so you want a certain income, you want a certain age group, you want a certain radius around where your beauty shop is. Boom, we came up with a list. And she did her target marketing that way. And that was all through RefUSA. So that's just one example of how you can use this as a resource. And it's very minimum. It's the white and yellow pages that's current. So that, and you can also find out who the company owners are, what the hierarchy is of the corporation. This is a great tool. If you have kids, grandkids, no kids, whatever, Tutorcom. This is developed for anytime kids get homework. So if they start homework in kindergarten, first grade, whenever they start, all the way through the first 2 years of college. And this is offered live one-on-one help. And these are professionals. They're a professional teacher or a professor. So they're credentialed folks, and they can help on any topic that a student faces. I think one of the most popular uses is to have help when students have writing assignments and essays, and they turn them in and they'll get them looked at and kind of with suggestions or corrections or whatever. It's made possible. Some kids have written in and said, you know, I would have had to have been dropped out of this particular math class if it hadn't been for this resource. They do a one-on-one help. It's in chat, and they can push their quality filtered websites. They have a whiteboard, and they can write on the, you know, they can diagram things like in your diagram a sentence or you know, they can diagram the rain cycle. But that's a resource. Now, EBSCO, this is if you really want to do some research here. It includes 14 different databases, and each one is generally very topic specific. So like there's one for just sustainability, and there's one for nursing, and then there's 14 different ones. Well, the one called master file is the more popular. I think it's the default one, but it's got full text, and that's what you want. Full text for nearly 1,700 periodicals, dating back as far as 1975, and it's very current. It virtually, I mean, it covers just about everything of general interest, but the premier version of this has 500 reference books, over 164,000 primary source documents, and they've got like 600,000 images of photos, maps, flags. I just can't say enough about EBSCO. I went back to school and got my PhD, and I used EBSCO more than anything for my research. It's just fantastic. Oh, here's the fun stuff: ebooks and e-audio. This is so cool. You get that Libby app. I mean, it is seamless. It is just, you'll love it. You will love it. You could read on, a lot of people read on their phone. That would small screen, but I mean, a lot of people do it. So you can have any device you want. And if you don't have a device, come in the library. We'll check out a Kindle to you. We'll check out a mini iPad. And you can try a digital book and see if you like it. But we'll get you started. And we have pretty much anything that is the latest and greatest. There's some publishers, like Amazon is now going to enter, we talk about the big six. Well, Amazon is now catching up, and they are a very large publisher, and Amazon will not sell to libraries. So it's possible that we may not have a particular title. If it's published by Amazon, we're not going to have it ever. So, but for the most part, we are able to work with the major publishers and get these. And then we have streaming video. This is a great resource. It's award-winning video, the streaming service and it's got more than 30,000 independent and documentary films. They're really unique, and they have a cultural value. They have the Criterion Collection, the Great Courses, Media Education Foundation, thousands of independent filmmakers. And then down in the corner, you see Overdrive. Overdrive is mostly popular films, but they're not the newest. We don't really have Netflix, but I mean, we do in DVDs. We have a lot more than you're going to get in Redbox. But I would encourage you to try this streaming video. You'll be surprised what's in there. Oh, music. Yeah, Freegal. Combination of free and legal. We pay for the copyrights, and you get to keep the music. You can download up to 5 songs a week. It's like having an iTunes card every week for 5 songs. There's over 10 million titles available. I know that just grew too, because somebody just sold up. Who was that? Darn it! I just read it. Somebody sold their collection to Sony. Was it the Beatles? No, I don't know. Anyway, it's growing. So there's 10 million songs right now. And whether or not the library continues the service, although we've had it for, oh gosh, 12 years anyway. But even if we discontinue, you keep the songs. They are yours to keep. And this is Flipster. Although we still have probably 300 print magazines in our stacks, you can download these or on your phone, on your device, wherever you want to read it, and just get these magazines. We've got 46 different titles, and I bet you'll find something in there that you'll find attractive. And you'll look at these titles. These are on sale right now. You'll see them at the grocery store checkout or in the grocery store, wherever you would buy a magazine. So think of the savings.
Were you referring to Paul Simon?
Pardon?
Were you referring to Paul Simon?
Oh, Paul Simon, you're right.
Or Simon?
Simon and Garfunkel. It wasn't the Beatles. I think Bob did. Yeah, I was reading about
Bob Dylan too.
That, you know, as they're aging, they're selling out their collections. Yeah, Paul Simon, yes. So that'll be a nice selection for Freegal. Yeah. Okay, makerspace. What is a makerspace? It is a focus on creation, everything from music and videos to 3D printing. You can make jewelry and crafting. You can convert your slides to a digital format and your old VHS tapes to DVDs before it's too late. I heard once upon a time they only last so many years and they get too brittle. And I just came across a video of when my daughters were babies. And I thought, oh, I got to get that into the library and get that converted. Well, hopefully it's still good. But it costs money, you know, when you send those things away to do. Here we do everything on a cost recovery basis. So you could bring in your own CD or DVD, or you could buy one at cost from us. You could use one of 2 sewing machines for projects or an embroidery machine. We got one of those fancy embroidery machines. We have a lot of make and take projects, or, well, what we're doing now, in today's environment is they're take and make. The opposite. We give you all the equipment, you take them home and make them. And we have YouTube videos that give you steps along the way on how to do that. But it's all, as I said, it's free. It's on a cost recovery basis. One of our recent additions has been a laser cutter for acrylic, wood, or leather, and it also engraves. And is this ever cool? So you can just go down to the dollar store, buy some wine glasses or a stein or coffee cup or whatever. And you could engrave anything you want on it. Create your own design and engrave it. And it is so unique. And it's really fun to personalize those things. We just now added to our, we have one of those Cricut machines that if you're into, I know a lot of scrapbookers can use Cricut, but this is like, it's like almost like an etching where it molds right into the mug. So it's another way of designing. Oh yeah, we got the whisper room. The whisper room, that's kind of showing at the bottom of the screen there. It's a sound isolation booth, and it's almost soundproof. It significantly reduces any ambient noise, and then you shut the door in there, and you shut the door where it's located, and it's quiet. And you can use it for voiceovers, recording music, translations. It could be a broadcast booth, musical instrument practice booth. It's a lot more. It contains professional level hardware and software. You just walk in, if there's nobody in there, you can use it or you can make a reservation. It's nice to have this kind of resource. There's a couple of other soundproof booths in town that you can use, the public can use, but of course you have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for it here. You don't even have to have a library card, I don't think, to use that. And here's our bike library. It debuted in 2018. We were only out 2 years. Last year we didn't go out, but we are going to go out again this year. And the bike peddler, he's going to show up anywhere in town. You just never know where he's going to be. It could be at All That Jazz on a Friday night. It could be the Riverwalk, Farmers Market, Arboretum. And depending on where the bike peddler goes, he's going to have books that are relevant to the topic. Like he went out to the Humane Society once and they had books on all different kinds of pets and pet names and that sort of thing. And we also offer an extensive list of things that you can check out. Ukuleles, we have even gardening tools, baking pans, board games, retro video games with the consoles, fitness kits, baking pans, Apple TV and Chromecast, streaming devices, GoPro camera with the accessories, take that on vacation. A video camera, digital camera, microphones, 3D pen, iPads, Kindles, Raspberry Pi, virtual reality. We have virtual reality on demand also in the makerspace, as well as a green screen. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You'd be stunned at the sort of things that you can use and take and check out from the library. And that is that. And I'm done being your talking head. Maybe you can talk to me now, huh? Let's see. Now I got to get out of this thing, right? Stop share. Is that what I do?
Correct.
Okay, there you are.
So I just went to the library for the first time this weekend.
Good.
I mean, it's a beautiful library. It was awesome. I went there with my sister. We were just she was studying, so I was just kind of hanging out. I don't study anymore. I'm not in college. So, but I've been reading a couple of books, and I have a book, and I was wondering how to go about finding them in the library. Do you have like a online system in the library? Like you just go on and it'll tell you, Dewey Decimal System or whatever, and tell you exactly where to go? Yeah,
you can use on our website. There's a search at the top. And we're going to upgrade, and it probably won't be out for another 3 months. But what's nice about it is that now if you put in, say you put in Harry Potter, I wonder where Harry Potter is, you're going to get a list. Okay, so we've got Harry Potter in large print. We have and so that's over there. And then we have regular Harry Potter, it's over there. And then we have an ebook, and that's over there. Say this, and we're improving the catalog, so you're going to have one Harry Potter and a list of all the different formats. Books can come in almost a dozen different formats. So it's nice to know what your options are. But yeah, the catalog, we have a map in the library that if you're wondering where to find things once you're in here. Typically, generally speaking, the rambunctious part of the library is the first floor. It's where the kids are, the teens. It's where all the popular DVDs are, where all the popular fiction is, and people are pretty noisy down there. And the second floor of the library is more traditional. It's we have nonfiction here, we have the computers here, the makerspaces here. It's usually a lot more quiet, and the research materials are up here. So, and my office is here if you want to stop in and ask for a tour. So that's kind of the rule of thumb, well, as a guide.
What's the youngest you can be to have a library card?
Haha. Well, you could just be born. We have a Books for Babies kit, and every mother, I think Finley has discontinued it right now. I don't know if it's because of COVID, but so we have both hospitals. Now we have Mercy Hospital. So all new moms will get a Books for Baby bag. There's a board book in there, and there's a suggested reading list, and there's baby's first library card. So you just bring that in the library and they get a card. So really there's no age group. The parent can get a card for their child.
I'm looking around because I think I saw that in our bag, actually.
Oh, really? Did you get one?
Yeah.
That's cool. That is cool.
So is the makerspace open?
It is. Right now, it is a very small space though. So right now we're limiting to 2 people in there at a time. But we're finding that, you know, people are self-regulating, and it hasn't been a problem. People could make a reservation if they wanted to make sure that they got in there when they wanted to be in there.
So how long are we allowed to have a book checked out before you come knocking down our door?
It's books 3 weeks. You can renew it for 3 weeks. That's a traditional book. The ebooks, you don't have to worry. They just like self-destruct, you know, they poof, they're gone. That's happened. That's annoying when you're in the middle of a sentence. Poof. But yeah, 3 weeks. You can renew for 3 weeks. We the way we get books back nowadays is if you don't return it, you get all your notices. You get notifications by text, email, phone, mail, whatever you prefer, and your account is frozen. So if you check out a bunch of items and you don't bring them back, and then you go online, you try to download something and you're not going to be able to, your account will be frozen. So, and then when you return the items, your account is, you know, open again.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I may be stopping in the near future. I've got a book that I got to finish now, but I've got a list of books I want to read, and I got.
Oh, yeah. Good. I bet we've got them. We've got an excellent collection.
Awesome. What?
We got a new library van. You'll see us tooling around town. Bright colors.
Right.
It's going to go into the shop tomorrow to get a new wrap on it. Yeah.
So is there a chance that I might be able to drive that around?
It's gonna be fun. You're really going to be on display. You know, one thing I didn't think of, and you know, I see Gary there, and I'm thinking I didn't even talk about art, but one of the library has a long history in the arts, and right now we have more than that, but I've identified 97 pieces of our artworks that are on exhibit. Some of them maybe not so special, others are really quite valuable, but it's a very eclectic collection. And people come into the library and don't even notice it. I mean, it's just there, right? It's on the walls, covers 3 floors. And I just finished getting the photographs of the pieces and writing up content, a little story behind each piece. And I sent it off to the vendor. We're going to have a self-guided art tour that you can access through an app. Or if you don't have a phone or don't want to use your phone, we'll give you a Kindle or something to walk around the library and take this tour. You can take the full tour and just walk up to a piece and punch in the number and find out more about it. So it's really a very interesting collection with a lot of little stories behind it. So that's coming in the near future.
Let us know about it and we'll promote it as well.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, and save the date, May 15th. We're going to have a ribbon cutting for our storybook walk. And it's going to be at the 22nd Street Beaver Ranch Greenway. And the storybook walk is like this pedestal with a slanted display panel. And it shows there's 2 pages of a book, a children's book, easy reader, enlarged pages, and each station. And we'll go make a loop around the Beaver Ranch Greenway there. And you can just walk, and I don't know, about 33, 40 feet, maybe distance between each one, and read a story as a family, or have the kids read the story or whatever. We'll change those out seasonally or at least once a month. So yeah, May 15th, we're going to have a ribbon cutting for our story walk.
Do you guys have anything to do with the one out at Swiss Valley?
No, that one I think is the county library, and it's exciting because the county library put theirs up. Dyersville Library is they're getting theirs going now. So the 3 of us are going to get together and share our books. You have to have oversized books. And there's a lot of them out there, but it's nice if you're able to share them. It's cheaper. So yeah, that's the county libraries.
Looking to find the brochure. Do you have one on the website, or you have one on Facebook or social media?
I'm only pausing to think because I don't, and I'll tell you why. We just got a brand new website and we reprinted to make sure it had. Our website was so long. It was www.dubuque.live.ia.us. It went on and on and on. And now it's just carnegiestout.org. It's so much easier. So we took all our brochures out and we redid them. So it's done. And I will be glad to I can forward you a copy. If you could share that with the group, that would be great.
So like I said, I was at the library this last weekend. And I just kind of was walking around, just trying to see what was all around. And I guess the second floor was roped off. I assume that's because of COVID.
Oh, you mean, are you talking about the staircase?
Yeah, the staircase, and then there's those tables. It's like
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So if you if you come in on the second floor and you pass that reference desk, and then the last floor mezzanine, you're talking about the mezzanine. Right now, 1/2 of the mezzanine is open. It's the west side. And we've got 2 parts of that mezzanine. And one side is open and the other side is not open, only because we just didn't have any place to store the furniture, because we had to keep the tables apart, socially distanced. And so we had to shut down 1/2 of that. And then you'll notice that the stairway, the marble steps going up to the 3rd floor is blocked off. It's not staffed, and we've been quarantining library materials up there in the auditorium. So that's been just library staff up there. So that is off. We do have our library boardroom up there, and people do use that. So, there's access, but it's just not open, freely open.
Any idea when that'll be? I guess nobody really knows.
Well, what we're thinking is we're not having in-person programs in the summer, but we're optimistic that we can start really thinking about it in the fall. And we're thinking about opening up our library auditorium for use, because there's a huge space there. You could easily socially distance up there and have a program or a book discussion or something. So I would say probably after the summer.
throughout this presentation, I was just literally thinking about my son. He's 2 years old, and one of his favorite books is Just Like My Brother. And so
Oh,
it's a giraffe, and they're playing hide and go seek, and he is asking a turtle, a hedgehog, a zebra, and a couple other different animals. And so he's gotten to the point where he can recite it pretty well. So I was like, okay, this is actually a great opportunity just to take him down over to open up get a library card for himself, and then we can have like a little routine for him to check out books and movies. So Moana's his favorite. So instead of just getting it here on Netflix, I think the whole process of getting him to walk together or to drive over and get it, I think
oh gosh, yeah. Kids love to come in the library.
I'll give him the Blockbuster experience, even though this Blockbuster is no longer.
Right, right.
So awesome. Does anybody have any other questions? Again, there is just you I'm thinking for myself of just say listening to this presentation again, and just how powerful that the library is, like, and how much is just there for the community, for all ages, to be able to grow and to personally develop. Because I mean, the best way to personally develop is through here, and the library's got all the content and things like that. And if it's not there, you can request it and it could be there. And it's just so powerful. So it's sometimes you have to get that little reminder of just how much is there, and there's so much awesomeness that's there. So
You just reminded me of something that you may not know this, but your library card from Carnegie Stout can be used at over 600 libraries around the state.
what?
So you find yourself anywhere, anywhere, almost anywhere. There's 544 libraries in Iowa, public libraries. And then there's academic libraries that your library card will work at. And you can check something out when you're traveling, or maybe you want to listen to something on a book on CD to when you're traveling home, and it's, yeah. And here's a well-kept secret. If you get something, say you're in Des Moines, you check out something from the Des Moines Public Library and you're done with it, and you think, oh, I got to return it. No, you return it to us, and we send it back to them. Because there's a statewide delivery system, and we just put it on that, it just goes back, no charge. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
It's nice to know that you can have that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. When we were back in Meridian, Idaho, we attended a book club that was once a month that was sponsored by the library. One of their employees kind of ran this, and it was kind of a different kind of book club. It was, instead of you must read this book and we will now discuss it, it was you tell us, what you've been reading and what you really liked, and pick one book and kind of tell us about that. And I tried lots of different authors that I would never even have heard of, through this book club. So I just wondered if the library has anything like that, or do you know of any book clubs that are similar?
We have done that. And I should ask we have so many different book clubs. We got them for all ages too. We even have one for the little kids, beginning readers, and then the tweens, and then the teens. And then for adults, we have, they try different things, like they'll try fantasy, or they'll try graphic novels, or they'll, everything. It's always switched up. And I know they have had that kind of book discussion before, but it's not consistent. So you're thinking that you'd like to get involved in something that's more consistently that sort of setup?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll tell you, the go-to person in town for book groups is Sue Davis at River Lights, the independent bookstore. It's only a block or two from the library. And Sue, I went to her when we had our all community reads, and I was trying to hook up with all the book clubs in town. And she knows a lot of, like all of them. And you might ask her if there's one that consistently has that format. But
Okay.
we've done it more than once. So I'm saying maybe once a year. So you might want to watch our website to find out when it pops up so you can take part in ours when we do have it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much, Susan. This has been awesome, and also very informative, and it put this great idea back in my mind of how I can,
We'll see you soon.
yeah, absolutely. And you'll see my little 2-year-old walking in there and probably throwing a fit because he doesn't want to leave because he wants to read all the books, and which is going to be fantastic. So got to start him young. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for this awesome presentation.